All right, Joel, cue the music. Oh, yeah. Yeah, bobbing around. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Eat, Sleep, Install, Repeat podcast. I'm your host, Rudy. We're on episode 10, and as always, I'm joined by Joel Hilditch.
Yeah, hello, everyone.
And Mr. Smooth himself, Bobby Jones. How's it going, Bobby?
Going good.
How's your week going?
Week's going good, actually.
Yeah?
Yep, not too bad. Weather's nice, finally. It's not snowing or raining right now, so we're good.
I was going to say, the weather has broke.
Yes, it
We got some heat.
Spring has sprung.
Yep. Well, today we've got a great episode for you guys. We're going to bring on Anthony Tozzi of North America Sony Car Audio. So without further ado, there you are. Welcome to the show, Anthony Tozzi.
Hey guys.
How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How you guys doing?
Good. We're excited to have you on today.
Excited to be here with you guys. Always like spending time with my Davis people, so thank you.
Do people in your normal life, do they call you Anthony, or does everyone call you Tozzi?
No one calls. So no one calls me Anthony other than my neighbors, because that's the only way they know me in that context. They've been introduced to me in that way, but no one else calls me Anthony.
So your mother's calling you Tozzi?
My mother calls me Ant.
Oh, okay.
And my dad calls me T.
Uh-huh.
I don't know where that comes from, but calls me T or Big T. That's really it.
Like The Sopranos.
Yeah. Like my mom, like my dad has the same name, and my mother calls my dad Toz.
Oh, okay. So you kind of
we don't use Anthony very often.
Do you ever get Tony?
I do, and that's how I know. So it's funny. So if someone calls me Tony, that's how I know they don't really know me.
Gotcha.
Because no one calls me that.
Right.
So. Some people will call me Anthony because that's just the way they've been introduced to me, right? But if someone calls me Tony, then it's very easy to understand. They really, really don't know me. I don't care for it. I don't like the way it comes across.
Yeah, I mean, people don't call me Rudolph, but that's how I know someone don't know me.
Yeah.
When my mom was around, she'd call me Jones.
Hell yeah.
She'd be like, Jones, get your ass over here.
Yeah. Well, we've got an exciting episode planned. We're going to go over the Sony Mobile Elevated Standard series, the Mobile ES series. We're going to go over some of the GS speakers and some of the benefits of those. But before we get started on that, how was KnowledgeFest? I know you guys won some awards this year. You even gave a speech. How was that?
It was great. It was a great show. The Las Vegas shows have really turned into something pretty special. Not to take away from the other venues or the other locales, but the Vegas show has gotten really special. It's kind of, as you or anyone in this business knows, right? CES is pretty much abandoned car audio, or car audio has abandoned CES, depending on which way you want to look at it. So this has kind of become our own, annual Vegas convention. And it's really become something fantastic. So once again, we had a great showing. We had our GS demo vehicle there, our Corolla that we love, and it's got a ton of miles on it going all over the place. And that'll actually be at Master Tech next week. A little plug for that. And then we also had a really special vehicle there from a Formula Drift team that we're involved with some sponsorship that had some Mobile ES gear in it. So that was really cool as well.
You said a drift team, or?
Yeah, Formula Drift.
Oh, okay.
I got to be honest with you, I'm not the best person to talk about that. I'm not much of an enthusiast.
Me neither.
So I can give you very top-line information about it. But it was very cool nonetheless. It's like a E46 older BMW wagon with a Mercedes diesel motor in it. It's all set up for drifting.
Okay.
It's got some Mobile ES product in it. It actually has 4 seats, so they take it to different events, and they do ride-alongs with people in it.
So Formula Drift different than Formula One? Yes?
Yeah. Formula Drift is like it's drifting.
Yeah.
Right? So it's
Fast and Furious.
Complete opposite ends of completely opposite ends of the socioeconomic scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
But does Formula One do it though?
I don't think so. I think
like
they
same
just,
company, or
I think they probably just stole the name.
Okay. Well, and what awards did you guys win?
You're testing me. Hold on, let me turn around a little. We won auto sound and processing this year, and then we also won. Oh man, you're gonna make me look really bad.
Vendor of the year.
We won vendor of the year back in like 17 or 18, I think it was.
Well, I mean, I possibly looked bad because I'm not ready with that info.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Auto sound and processing, and infotainment and multimedia.
Okay. Okay. Well, cool. So, what do you want to start with? Kind of what do you want to go over first? GS, ES?
Whatever you guys are ready for.
I'm ready for. Let's go over the ES, the elevated standard.
I do this all day, so I can talk about any of the topics. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do the elevated standard. Let's just go with the big dog first.
Yeah.
What makes it different? I guess is the kind of upfront question. Why is it the elevated standard series?
It has a lot to do with the way that the product was planned from the get-go, from an initial conception all the way through execution, right? So the product is certainly built to a higher standard. There's certainly better components from a board level, right? It's certainly more feature laden. It wasn't built with cost as the top line, where you see that when we're doing a lot of other projects or other products. Cost is typically the number one or number two thing that we're discussing, and we're building product backwards to fit a vertical, right? Where ES was not built with cost thrown out the window. Obviously, we're not building $3,000 amplifiers, but cost was not the determining factor for all the decisions that we made, which allowed us to be a lot more flexible with some of the features and the components that we used in it. So that's probably the easiest way to explain, why it's different than the rest of our line. We chose to not really go after the very niche products that you see out there that are really esoteric type of, audiophile gear, because that's not what ES is. It's still from an everyday brand, is Sony, which is built for everyone. So ES is definitely an elevated standard, meaning it's certainly better than what you see from your everyday product, but it's not so far and out there, quote unquote, as some of that esoteric niche product that you see. You sell 5 amplifiers a year. That's certainly not what we're going after.
And how many receivers head units come in the line? It's 2, right?
So it's a full line. So it's a full suite of products. It's we have 2 head units that are currently available, a traditional double-din chassis, and then the now popular floating style radio. So
me and Joel kind of got confused on the double din. Is it still though a single din chassis? It just fits double din. Okay, yeah,
it still is.
Yeah,
it is. So and that's unique across all of our head units now. So all of our double din chassis, all of our double din units are, the best way to describe it would be a double din face with a single din chassis.
Yeah.
And they all built on the same platform, so they all look physically the same.
Yeah.
From behind.
Right.
So so we have 2 head units in the ES product lineup, which is a 9000 ES and 9500 ES. We've got a slew of speakers in all different configurations and sizes. So we've got a 3-way component set. We've got a 6x9 component set. We have a traditional 2-way component set. We have a slew of coaxes available in 6.5, 6x9, and 6x8. And then we've got some woofers in 10 and 12 inch with the 2 and 4 ohm configurations for flexibility purposes. Then we've got quite a few amplifiers. We've got a traditional monoblock, and all the nomenclature where we went through all the model lineups. We really tried to make it as simple as possible. So, for example, all of our amplifiers, XM is a prefix that we use in all the Sony amplifier products. So I'll start with XM, and then the monoblock is 1 ES. A 4-channel is 4 ES. 6-channel is 6 ES. So we really tried to build the whole product lineup so that it was a whole family that made sense to not only our retailers, but to consumers as well. So across the lineup, we've got the 1 ES, the 4 ES. We've got a 6-channel and an 8-channel at the 6 and 8 ES, and then we have a 5-channel, which is the 5 ES. That's the whole lineup. In
terms of the ES speakers, they're made of a different material than, say, like the GS or any other Sony speaker?
They are. They certainly are.
And if you look at the ES speaker and a GS speaker, though, pretty much if you really study it, the GS speaker and the ES speaker are pretty much the same
except
speaker,
for the materials.
except for the materials. And isn't the voice coil a little bit different too in the GS?
The build of the
No, you're not wrong. So I mean, they were certainly built to look like a family, right?
Yeah.
So the GS certainly has a lot of similar cosmetic features that you see on the ES. They have they're built in the same factory, right? So they have a similar build quality, but obviously the materials are very different that are used in them. Essentially,
there's a similar DNA throughout the entire Sony line. The ES uses
100%.
better materials for the speakers, because it is in fact the elevated standard line.
Yeah. And one of the things that really changes, that doesn't change across the line is the fact that we build our own speakers, right? So our speakers are all engineered from scratch, in-house.
Yeah.
So it's not an outside ODM or a factory building them to our spec. It is all done ourselves from scratch.
Yeah.
So you see that across the board.
So quality is there. Yeah.
I mean,
and you guys have a passion for this too. We do.
We sell sound, right?
Yeah.
So I've said this 1,000 times. I'll continue to say it. Sony is not a car audio company. Sony is an electronics company that happens to sell car audio.
Right.
So a lot of our approaches to product development are a little different outside the box compared to some of our competitors who are only dabbling in the car audio space, or primarily in the car audio space, I should say. Right. That is how they pay their bills. Car audio is not how Sony pays their bills. It's just a category that we're involved in amongst many others.
So you got some? Oh, okay. So what kind of dealer is this ES? Is the ES line kind of geared for?
To be honest with you, when it first launched, a lot of people thought that it was really reserved for just a certain type of niche dealer or somebody who was doing all this high end stuff. And when you really break it down and you look at the price points, it's just simply an elevated product compared to what quote unquote normal price points that are being transacted at nowadays. So, I mean, nothing that we sell in the ES product lineup is that expensive in the big scheme of things, right? So to answer your question, it really is for anyone who's willing to get behind it. It is a product line that's probably going to require a bit of selling, right? Because it sits at a price point that's, to meet the elevated standard, the price point is elevated, right, from your average, transaction, right? There are certainly plenty of people out there who are selling $1,000 pairs of speakers, on a regular basis, but that's not necessarily the consumer or the dealer that we're going after. We're trying to provide people with an elevated product offering that's just a little bit one step ahead of what you're quote unquote normally transacting with. So again, it's really for any dealer who's willing to get behind it. It's not a product or a price point that's going to do well in a space that's very high volume, churn and burn. It's certainly more for a traditional car audio retailer. But on the same token, the product was built to be able to fit in factory locations, and not really require a ton of custom work to be fit anywhere. So it really straddles the line between something that's quasi-custom and something that can be done in factory locations, with good performance.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and then also go back onto the GS line. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Go back onto the GS line and the ES line. What I have customers asking though, a lot is, Toz, is the GS amplifiers, everything going away eventually, and we are going to just only have ES? Just curious on that.
The answer to that is yes and no. So the GS speakers are not going anywhere.
Right.
They're relatively new. We just launched them a little over a year ago. So the GS speakers are not going anywhere. The GS amplifiers will be going end of life in calendar 2025. Okay. And they currently do not have a replacement set up for them. So I can't tell you there won't be one in the future, but it will not be a seamless transition with the current lineup, which again is just two amplifiers right now, the GS100, the GS4.
Yep.
Those will be going end of life in calendar 2025. We don't have a specific idea of when yet. It really depends on sell-through rates and whatnot.
Whenever they run out.
Correct. I can tell you we're not producing any more of them.
Okay. Awesome.
So that's to answer your question. So yeah.
Great.
Well, speaking of GS speakers, that was going to be one of our topics, but GS speakers all about margin, yeah.
100%.
100%.
The GS speakers, that is your everyday, turn and burn, factory replacement, a lot of performance for the dollar, heavy ROI for not only the consumer, but the dealer, right? So you don't have to spend a ton of money. You're going to get good performance out of them. And for the, from an ROI perspective for a customer, and then ROI for the dealer, like you said, they're all about margin. When you're transacting speakers at lower dollar amounts, the margin has to be high, right? So nobody wants to pull a door panel and install a speaker to make $20.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to be able to make enough money to keep the lights on. So the idea behind GS was give everyone a quality product that we can stand behind, that's going to give you good performance, but most importantly, it's going to put some money in your pocket when you sell the thing.
And what's the full lineup for the GS speakers?
So the GS speakers are comprised of a 6.5-inch component set, a 6.5-inch coax. They're composed of a 6x8/5x7 coax and a 6x9 coax. And then we have a 10-inch woofer and a 12-inch woofer.
Yeah.
That's it. Short, sweet, and simple.
Simple, yeah.
All the sizes that you need. Once in a blue moon, people ask me why we don't make a 5 1/4. We don't make a 5 1/4 because cars don't come in 5 1/4 anymore.
Yeah.
Is that old school?
Oh, 5 1/4. Yeah, that's older school. Yeah. You get a couple every now and then, but you can add an adapter to them and make them a 6.5 or something.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. Thank you to our friends at Metro and all the other people who make the adapters, keep us from building another SKU that we're going to end up giving away at some point. So anytime we've made a 5 1/4, we've given them away in the last couple of years. Nobody wants them. Yeah. And knock on wood, thank you to guys like you and our other distributor family who's done a great job of helping us bring the product to market, and our dealers who have really supported it. GS is doing well.
Awesome. Moving on, so Sony has done an incredible job protecting and really offering dealers a profitable line. I know you guys take a lot of pride in that. You guys, monitor MAP programs and sales and everything. Could you just kind of give the audience a look into that and why you guys do what you do to protect the line?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer and the tongue-in-cheek answer to why we do is because it's dictated by Sony.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a sales guy, right? I'm paid on volume, so I'd sell anything to anybody. But, Sony doesn't play like that. So, honestly, and the whole idea behind the MAP program, or why we're so strict with our MAP policies, has a lot to do with being Sony as opposed to. So see my previous comments about Sony, not just dabbling in a car radio space, right? I'm going to go off on a sidebar here real quick, right? So, we don't only sell car audio, right? We're involved in a lot of other consumer electronic spaces, amongst many other things, but this conversation is only about Sony electronics, right? So we're involved in a lot of other consumer electronic spaces. That's a good thing and it's a bad thing for us, right? Sometimes we don't get all the resources that some of our other car audio centric competitors do, right? Because they're only focused on car. But the flip side of it is we get a lot of great resources that some of them don't actually get, right? And with that is a really strict MAP policy, a team in place at headquarters that their only job is to track MAP violations and go after people violating. And we have a lot of money invested in internet crawlers and third-party companies doing things for us. We have a whole MAP committee comprised of people in all different departments, be it legal and product planning and business and sales and some executives. So that's one of the positives to being involved with a company like Sony that's not just car-centric, is you get to steal great ideas from other categories, right? So on our home side, we have a program called Sure, which helps to maintain profit margins and have solidified consumer pricing out there. So On car, we have what we call MAP, which is minimum advertised price. And to us, that's the core value of what we do. So you can build the greatest product. If it doesn't bring realized margins to a dealer's doorstep or cash register, why do they want to sell it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's been kind of our mantra for the last 13, 14 years since I've been involved. Rick Kojam, my boss, when him and I got together in March of 2011 when he took over. I'm sorry, summer of 2011. And we've been doing this for almost 14 years now. And, we realized that, again, right, we're not a car audio. We're probably not going to, I don't even have to say probably. We haven't been and probably will continue to not be first to market with everything, okay? So when CarPlay came out, we were a little late to the game. So we might not necessarily have the first product that everyone's looking for. We might necessarily not have the best or the most niche product that everyone's looking for in a car space. But the trade-off is I can really help you with your profitability.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always pros and cons to a lot of different things. And I'm not bashing any competitor in specific, but some of them make some really great products. But if you can't make profit with it,
Mm-hmm.
I pay the bill somehow.
Yeah. I mean, all the efforts ultimately make it profitable for the dealer. You know what I mean? And it protects them. So
that's the whole idea behind it, right? So, we started a grassroots initiative many years ago with the rest of our team and Rick and I to go after the dealers on a personal level, right? So we want to not treat them like just a number. If you take the way back machine to when I first started here, 13, 14 years ago, we were not winning awards 13 and 14 years ago. I promise you that. So, the way that we were able to build the brand back up and create loyal dealers was through several different avenues, but one of them was through profitability, because that's what really hits home to the intelligent dealers, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guys that really get it. Because you got to pay the bills somehow. We're not all as pretty as Bobby, so we've got to.
Mr. Smooth.
We got to figure out how to pay the bills.
As smooth as his head.
Bobby was just telling us about his daily coconut butter application.
Yeah,
right before you got on.
Hey,
I'm surprised you still work at Davis because you're probably making so much on your OnlyFans.
Everybody says that. Any new product, anything? Any of the new radios that we're going to be showing? No?
We do not. We do not. So there's currently nothing that we're publicly showing in the pipeline. I will attribute some of that to, again, right, and I know I keep circling back to this.
Yep. See
previous comments about Sony having their hands in a lot of other things. Hopefully you're aware of, because it's been in the news, that Sony and Honda have a joint venture, and there'll be a Sony car coming out next year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's launching in California next year in 2026. So one of the byproducts of that happening is they borrowed quite a few of our car audio engineers for that project.
Nice.
I was going to say there better be Sony car audio in that car.
Well, there's a lot of great stuff going on. I sat in that car actually with Nate in Tokyo last year. We sat in one of the later prototypes that we had. We sat in that. I mean, the tech is phenomenal. It's just a lot of crazy stuff going on in there. So they borrowed a lot of our engineers and a lot of our engineering resources for that project. So some of the aftermarket stuff is a bit on pause at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean, hunker down on current product. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of been our, I don't want to say argument because I'm not being defensive about it, but
right.
I'll tell you a quick story. A dealer came up to me at the Las Vegas KnowledgeFest and said, "Hey, so when's like the new 4000 coming?" I go, "You mean the 4100?" He goes, "Oh yeah. When's that coming?" I go, what would a 4100 have that a 4000 doesn't have?
So the changes you would make would be real changes. There's no point in,
And that was my rebuttal to him. I said, first off, let me just clear the air. There's no 4100. That was a joke.
Right.
He didn't get that. You might, but he didn't. And I'm like, bud, like, there's no reason to launch a new model just to have a new model.
Yeah, just a new part number. That's all he wanted.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, especially for the way we do business. There's absolutely no reason to make dealers churn old models, make you guys churn inventory just to have new stuff that might be a cosmetic feature or whatnot.
Yeah, changing part numbers for no reason.
I'm not a believer in that, and thankfully Sony doesn't subscribe to it too. And thankfully we're seeing our competitors do that less and less as well.
When you and Nate were in Japan, did you guys do the Mario Kart experience?
So he did, I did not. So
okay.
he had some friends visiting as well. They had it planned for the day I was leaving. But I was back in Japan earlier this year with my daughter, just her and I. And her and I did get to experience it. So her and I did the Mario Kart. And
that's awesome.
It looked pretty
neat. And I did it on Nate's recommendation. So it was a great time. She couldn't drive. My daughter's 11.
Oh.
So we did like a Can-Am Riker.
Yeah.
It's like a little 3-wheeled thing. But same idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was very cool.
Do they do like, can you throw banana peels and stuff? Like, how do they do that? How do they?
Yeah, isn't
no,
okay.
Japan's too civilized for that.
Well, I just meant, did they have some kind of like, I don't know, screen and dash or something where you could like throw it and I don't know. I was thinking of a whole digital setup. I don't know.
That's dangerous, or you should never take your eyes off the road.
All right. Japan's one place I've always wanted to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long's the flight to get there?
So it's about 12, 13 hours, depending on where you're coming from. But it's
but when you fly like Tozzi, you know, you got queen size beds in the airplane and everything like that, you know. Movies playing.
Yeah, it's certainly somewhere I tell people if you can get there, get there. I have not been outside of Tokyo. I've only been in Tokyo, so I can't speak for the rest of the country. But having grown up, I never lived further than 40 minutes away from New York City, right? So having grown up that close to New York, Tokyo reminds me very much of New York.
Well, Tozzi, that's all I got for the show. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to cover or last call? Joel, you got anything?
I'm good.
Bobby?
Yeah, no, I'm good, I think.
Tozzi. Any final thoughts and comments?
No, I mean, I think what you guys are doing here is really cool.
Well, thank you.
I applaud you guys for doing it. I wish other people.
Sorry, I wasn't prepared a little bit more for it
you're
today.
all good,
you know? I like to.
He was giving a heartfelt speech.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like I'm at home.
Yeah. You are at home.
Yeah, we are at home. You're with family.
No, seriously, I wish others would take the initiative that you guys do. You guys are really killing it with your marketing efforts and just stuff like this. I mean, it's relevant. People like this stuff.
They do.
Well, we appreciate it, Tozzi, for sure. And we're definitely looking forward to seeing you at the expo.
Man.
We're definitely looking forward to seeing what Sony's going to present. And
what is it? A month from now, right?
It's a month.
We'll see you guys
it's coming up almost
April
1 month.
April 15th.
Rudy, I know you got a lot to do with this. I know all you guys do, but I know you do. I know your sister does.
Yeah.
Please tell her she's doing a great job.
Okay.
Seriously, I applaud her and you and everybody in the Davis umbrella. But I know Sarah's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Yep, we'll definitely tell her that.
From a vendor perspective, it's very much appreciated.
She would appreciate that a lot because she has been working really hard on it, and
I know she has.
Yeah,
and it's from a vendor perspective, it's very much appreciated, man.
All right, well, we appreciate it, Tozzi.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Tozzi.
You have a good day.
Thanks,
have a good one.
Take care.
You too.
Well, I mean, that was a pretty good episode. Do you guys have any thoughts on anything? Any comments on Tozzi?
Tozzi.
Tozzi's Tozzi.
Tozzi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And then
He's a character.
Good guy.
TSU, tear stuff up.
There you go. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys next time.
And always remember, shake your head, yes.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.